So, George, thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me. I really appreciate it. And I just wanted to know, could you talk to us about your running? Because I know you're really passionate about it. So how did you get started?
My running started many years ago, nearly 40 years ago, when I was at a party at about 2 o'clock in the morning. I was talking to this chap here and I said, we've got to get fit, we're putting on too much weight. And he said, well, we'll go out tomorrow morning, Sunday. I said, yes, okay, it's 7 o'clock. He said, oh no, it's too early, we'll make it later than that. Anyway, next thing I knew that the phone rang and Helen, my daughter, said, Uncle Dennis is on the phone to go for a run. So I fell out of bed, grabbed some shoes, I didn't have any running shoes or anything like that, put those on and went running up the road there, met Dennis, and then we went round Boardwalk and I nearly collapsed. It's one thing you should never do, you should never ever do a thing like that. I mean, if I could have had a heart attack as easy as anything there. And
how old were you at the time, may I ask you?
Well, I don't know, it must have been, well, 40, it must have been around about 40, that sort of thing, just a time when middle age. And anyway, we then carried on walking around, and then from then onwards we would do it nearly every morning. We would go out and run, no, not far, only just a mile or so around on there. And then I heard about a fun run in Croydon, Croydon 5 mile fun run, so I entered that. With great apprehension, and could I do that? Could I do that? I don't know what I did, but we did that, and that was okay. It didn't come first, but it didn't come last. So that was always the way, isn't it? And so then at work at the hospital, they had a meeting. They said that we want to put on a fun run, and I said, oh yeah, that's a good idea, you know. So, no, I suggested them have a fun run, that was it. They came back and said, why don't you organise it? You organise a fun run. So
yeah.
I thought, yeah, that sounds good. So I then got Pat, my wife, and took her down the pub and gave her a couple of gins and said, will you be the race secretary? And then I got another friend down the road, Doreen, and asked her if she'd be the treasurer, and we set up this the Nevern 7, which was very successful, and I think the first time we had about, I don't know, 150 people turn up, and then from then onwards it got up to a maximum of 500 runners. In fact,
wow.
One that as we got to 500 runners, where it was up to 499 registered runners, not actual running people, but registered runners. And I said to my 2 daughters, I said, right, I want you both in there running this afternoon to make it 501. And which is what they did. And Susan, my eldest daughter, collapsed at the end, 7 mile run. It's a challenging, very challenging run. And Susan just collapsed on and she looked at me and she said, I will never ever do a run again like that. Helen went on and she's run I don't know, three London marathons now, and she still runs. She runs every weekend and goes out now.
And I know that you're no stranger to marathons either. How many marathons have you run?
At that time, when we were organising the Nevern 7 there, I watched the London Marathon on there, and this chap with a massive great stomach waddling along on the television, and I thought, good grief, if he can do that, I can do that. So I applied for London and managed to get a place. I got a place, and I did it, and did the London. I think I did it about 4.5 hours then, at that time there. I then did the Paris Marathon the following year, and then did the London 6 weeks later on it, so I did 2 marathons. Yeah. And then since then I've done, well, a total of 10 marathons. The last one being my 75th birthday, with Helen, my youngest daughter. She said, now you're 75, Dad, what about doing the London Marathon for your 75th birthday. So, yeah, that's a good idea. And so we did the marathon. Of course, she went off. I didn't see her again. But when I got to about 18, 19 miles, I thought, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah. And what kept you going? Because that's a horrible place, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, well, the crowd keeps you going and that sort of thing. Because I had Grandad George up on my T-shirt and that sort of thing. Go on, Grandad, go on. And but you know, you're in it. You've just got to do it. You've just got to finish it. Failure or not to finish it is just not an option. I mean, last night you see that the girl who's paralysed and she's taken 14 days to do the London Marathon.
Yeah,
I mean,
incredible, isn't it?
That sort of thing. And these chaps coming back from Afghanistan who are, you know, one leg and all this sort of thing. I mean, they do it. You know,
yeah.
It's a sort of thing that once you get into this money, it's self-motivating to a point. I mean.
You just love it, don't you? I remember you saying to me, it just makes you happy.
Yes, I mean, it's a challenge every time. Like on Sunday, as I just said, that I've entered a 10K, and I'm apprehensive about, actually, can I do that? You know, I'm getting older with all the problems I've had in the past year. But of course, the great thing is the park run. Now, everybody should do a park run. Because that is the most incredible event that's been started up. You don't have to you register once, you don't have to pay, you don't have to enter, you just turn up every Saturday morning if you want to. It's optional, and the motivation is there, the encouragement, everybody else encourages that. Yeah. I mean, when I was lying in hospital recently after my operations, and I thought, oh dear, am I past my sell-by date? You know, I really thought that, you know, it's getting a bit much now and that sort of thing. And I don't know, I'll give it one more try. And I went to Park Run, and, you know, everybody sort of, oh, hello, George, oh, well done, oh, you're doing, oh, yes. You know, so much encouragement. They all encourage you to keep going. And that, you know, and then, of course, once you start the Park Run, I mean... It's
infectious, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's infectious.
Oh yes, you know, and you while there's no pressure, you don't have to come first. You don't have to go. It doesn't matter if you come last or anything like that. But at the same time, it just gives that little motivation. I've got to keep going. I must finish. You know, I mustn't. I'll try not to walk, but I'll have a little walk because nobody's looking. I'm last and nobody's around, and there. So, but Park Run, I recommend that to everyone.
Okay. We'll make sure the details go up. So what advice would you give someone who kind of is in that place of, I don't think I can do it, it's hard, what would you say?
Well, you apply, again for the running like Park Run, you apply and think about it afterwards. Yeah. That's to do it, and it's inside you to do it. I know that I can't do that. So, but you know, make a commitment somewhere along the line, and think about it afterwards. Of course, you do think about it after. You say, "Oh my God, yeah, I hope I can do this." You know, it's like a Hastings half marathon. You say, "Oh, can I do that?" You know. But of course, if you get in a big crowd there, and I mean the crowd carry you along there.
Yeah.
With someone hopefully behind you.
Yeah. And something I'm curious about, you know, George, you inspire me. You know, you really do. Seriously, you got me to run a marathon. Do you realise what an inspiration you are because you're so passionate about it?
No, that never crossed my mind. It's never ever crossed my mind. No, it's not. I certainly encourage the Park Run, which is a 5K run. I definitely, people there, I always encourage them to enter a 10K one because it's that is the next step. And nobody, whoever does that, they would never regret it. You'd never regret it. That when I do encouraged me. I sometimes never see him again.
And sometimes you do.
And sometimes you do, but I don't know. No, but that's, you've just got to just go for it, and think about it afterwards.
Yeah, okay.
And,
Thank you so much. That's brilliant. Thank you.
you're welcome.